Yes, with the amazing Spider-Man!
Nice.
The best character investments in Marvel Rivals Season 2. Since the meta in this game is always changing, this video is always going to be updated as well, and it's going to be the exact same criteria as the last time I made this video. An investment on a character is your time and energy you spend learning the character, their combos, their matchups, time you spend practicing and mastering these characters. Some characters are just simply better and more practical in many situations, have a much more versatile role with a wider variety of teams you might find yourselves on. And obviously if you're playing a character that's banned every other game, it's just not practical. There are characters that get banned every game but then they cycle through. I'm not seeing Wolverine banned nearly as much as I did. Same with Storm. But Groot, who is the main tank I play, is banned every game now. This is something I never experienced much of, only at the tail end of last season. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. And the first character I actually want to talk about is Psylock, one of the most underrated and slept on characters in this game, and with Emma Frost being a very good and common pick in any kind of gameplay, you are going to get this team up very often. Psylock does have a bit of a learning curve, but if you take the time to master her abilities, her kill combos, she can be not only a very effective character, but a lot of fun. Her ultimate can clutch you some kills on their back line, and you're able to take off angles and flank very safely since Psylock has incredible mobility and stealth. Psylock is also one of those divers that isn't necessarily countered by Namor since you can pick off his squids pretty easily from a safe distance. And Psylock can poke at the flyers like Iron Man or Storm. It's not what she's most known for, but she can definitely apply pressure, get on a rooftop, and pick off an Iron Man if you need to. She's also pretty underrated at poking at the tanks as well from an off angle. She also has a very forgiving playstyle. When you're trying to learn this character, or if you're having a bad game, you might miss some of your combos, your shots, she is usually able to peel, grab a health pack, and try again. Unlike somebody like Magic or Black Panther where you have to get right up close. So if you miss your combos and don't peel out or save some of your cooldowns, you're more than likely gonna die. Psylock's dash is also good at confirming a kill if your enemy just needs that one little hit left. Psylock is also not a very common ban across all elos, so the chances of you getting banned are very slim, as of right now. Again, I cannot predict the future of popular bans, but as of right now she is not a popular ban. And she's a character that will not get boring over time. There is a very high skill ceiling and layers to her playstyle, so the more time you sink into this character or invest in this character, the better she'll be. Next we have Mr. Fantastic, somebody that I absolutely hated dealing with. But now with his buffs, you are starting to see Mr. Fantastic get a lot more play, and I'm not surprised, since even before the patch, I personally thought a Mr. Fantastic main who was really good at this character was a nightmare to deal with. Now even more so at applying back pressure to the healers, being very hard to kill, and having a very common team up with Invisible Woman since she is picked very often. And both Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman are not common bans either. Mr. Fantastic also allows you to play somewhat of a pseudo tank. This is something I've also had to learn with Magic. If you're playing with only one tank on your team, which happens a lot, since most people seem allergic to playing two tanks on a team, Mr. Fantastic can adjust his playstyle to fill in that role to be somewhat of a second tank and absorb damage, take space, and apply pressure. So the character has a lot of versatility. His ultimate is still not the best, but in the right hands, like I talked about in my last video, it's one of the most rage-inducing ults in the game, and can be effective if done right. Overall, I just think Mr. Fantastic is a very slept-on option, and when you do face a good Mr. Fantastic, your team is usually not ready for it since it's a pretty uncommon pick, and he is rarely to almost never banned. So that's not something you're gonna have to worry about. And even if you're not maining him, I just think he'd be a solid flex pick at any given moment to really change the tide of a game and gain momentum. Next, we have Emma Frost. Now I know that she's a very common pick right now since she's new, but I think this character is here to stay. Her ultimate's very versatile and can be teamed up with other ultimates when they're stunned. She has crazy kill combos, especially in her crystallized form, and she's good at dealing with divers. I have already faced some pretty scary good Emma Frost players. She is an excellent secondary off-tank, dealing with divers, and just helping to apply pressure. Not to mention she can block damage and block a good majority of the offensive ultimates. She also has a team up with Magneto and Psylock, Magneto being a very common tank pick as well. She's not banned a crazy amount, she does get banned from time to time, but Groot, the Hulk, Namor, Spider-Man are much more common bans than her, so that's not something I would worry about too much. Next, to no one's surprise, we're gonna have Hela, a character that will take longer to master, but what a fantastic investment once you do. Hela, obviously you live or die by your aim, and it's good to obviously learn at least one character from every role. If you're somebody that likes to just master one specific character, I could think of no better character than Hela. She can single-handedly carry you games if you're good at aiming, and if you take the time to practice your aiming in the practice range, you can genuinely be unstoppable, and she has a fantastic team up with both Thor and Loki, Loki being one of the best strategists in the game. Tell me you're not shitting your pants every time you run into a really cracked out Hela. That could be you. She does require a bit more investment than the average character, but the reward and end result's going to be insane. Next, we have two characters that kinda go hand in hand, Invisible Woman and The Thing. Like my last video on this topic, I still think Invisible Woman is a great investment and one of the better strategists to learn, and she pairs well with The Thing. Also with Mr. Fantastic and obviously the Human Torch, but The Thing specifically, I feel is one of the better tanks in the game. And since Groot is getting banned currently every game or every other game, one of The Thing's biggest counters, you can kind of run rampant with him. He's a great counter for Wolverine if you're worried about that, and with Invisible Woman, who is a common strategist pick that almost never gets banned, you're always going to get that team up. And if you pair with another great tank, it lets The Thing just run amok in the enemy backlines, take space, and just be a menace. It's also not an insanely high skill ceiling to learn the basics of his character, his kit, to be efficient with him. He pairs well with a lot of the other tanks, he can't be pushed or pulled or moved in any way, so enemy Invisible Womans can't trap you in when you're trying to peel out and get that easy pick. Just an overall very versatile and solid tank. No pun intended. Next, we have yet again another character reoccurring, Loki. A higher skill ceiling than most strategists, but once you really dial in with him, I just don't see this character falling off meta-wise. You can copy any ultimate in the game, whatever your team or situation requires. His clone placements and his ruin give him like a mini healer ult. He's hard to kill. He can also do a crap ton of damage and get some picks himself. Loki is just an overall solid investment with a higher skill ceiling, but he's also a fun character you're not going to get bored of, even as a secondary healer for a flex pick. And since Spider-Man and enemy dive characters are the bane of a healer's existence, Loki is one of, if not the best, strategist at actually countering this. So if you take the time to master him, you're just going to save yourself a lot of headaches down the line. And again, I don't see him getting nerfed to oblivion anytime soon. But you never know. I guess Adam Warlock never thought that would happen to them either, and look what happened. So, can't predict the future, but I think for the years to come, in this game's lifespan, I think Loki will be a consistently good character during that time. So whether he gets buffed or nerfed in the future, I still think he'll be a fantastic investment. And he has a good team up with Hela and Thor. Next, we're gonna have Storm. Now, Storm was banned a lot last season, not nearly as much now. I think it'll go in waves and droves. She'll probably be one of the most banned characters in the future again, and then maybe not. Overall, the character is just a solid character to have on your team. She does a ton of damage, has great mobility and abilities, is even able to buff your whole team, use the environments to your advantage. A really good Storm player is a nightmare to deal with. That could be you. And her ultimate is still insane. One of the scariest ultimates you'll have to deal with. And as somebody that primarily plays Scarlet Witch and Magic, because I'll be honest, I don't have the best aim myself, I find when I do play Storm, I am able to hit most of my shots. I don't feel like she's really that hard to aim with. She's a bit harder than Iron Man, for example, but compared to some of the other characters like Hela and Hawkeye, I don't find it particularly hard to hit my shots with her, but obviously has a higher skill ceiling for those that really dial in. And personally, I think Storm's in a very good place right now. At first, everyone hated her, thought she was trash, then she was buffed and everyone thought she was amazing. Everyone was playing her, she was banned every game. Now I think it's much more leveled out where she's just an extremely solid pick in the right hands. Next is arguably going to be the best investment in this video, a character that I loved even last season but now has gotten even better, Raccoon. Where do I even begin with this one? He gives you a free revive on your team which can keep momentum in your favor in a close match. His ultimate now is way better than it was. Rocket already had phenomenal healing, but now with his ultimate and his free revive, it's nuts. Also, have you seen how well Rocket can shred enemies up close? If you've ever played a good Rocket, you know just how deadly he can be up close. His mobility is insane. Being able to elevate, take the high ground, survive against divers, a truly good Rocket player almost never dies. Is able to heal from a distance, has a ton of mobility, and can shred if needed. And Rocket is not terribly hard to learn and master. You can have a solid career with Rocket, just healing with the instant revive and your ultimate. You don't even have to DPS or shred at all. Just being able to survive divers and heal is going to be more than enough for your average match. But once you master how to shred people with Rocket like I've seen some Rocket mains do, he is just such a solid character to have in your back pocket. Have as your strategist flex pick. Personally, he'll probably be the next strategist I learn. I'm just waiting to see what Ultron's like, but Rocket is insanely versatile and good. And if you have a good Punisher on your team to boot, it's just that much better. And that is going to wrap up the video for the best character investments in Season 2 of Marvel Rivals. I did want to include Namor again, since I think he will forever be a solid anti-diver pick. He is now being banned a lot, and he is the primary ban for any Spider-Man or Magic, Black Panther, or pretty much every diving character, and people that main those characters, Namor is going to be their first ban. And by association, the Hulk is now being banned a ton just because they don't want to deal with Namor in that team up. Until they add more anti-diver characters, Emma Frost is a step in the right direction, but until they add specific anti-diver characters like Namor, he's going to be the primary ban for those mains. But overall, I think these are the best characters to invest your time in Season 2, all things considered, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of fun and unique characters in this game, and there's no characters that are unusable if they're in the right hands. So when it boils down to it, you gotta play which suits your playstyle and what you find the most fun. I say that, but yet everyone takes that seriously and then always insta-lock Spider-Man. But thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.